Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Dutchman, and today we are going to look at Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, which is a game that I have played a lot as a child, and in light of the recent Jurassic World Evolution release, I wanted to revisit this game. Now the game of course is a little old by this point.
My name is John Hammond, and I am in charge of InGen, the company that you now work for. Your job is quite simple, really. Build a park, create dinosaurs, and entertain people. Of course, we'll be keeping an eye on you as well. We'll watch your park rating and give you feedback on your performance. But in the end, the success or failure of Jurassic Park, it's all up to you.
Well, that's about as good as an intro as you're going to get. Really, that pretty much explained the whole thing. Your job here is to build a park, make sure that people do not die, and breed as many dinosaurs as you can. This is the island generation screen, which is where you're going to be generating your island on which you are going to build your park. There's a couple of stats. The amount of trees you start with, I always like to keep this high. The amount of rivers, I also like to keep this fairly high. Mountains, reasonably. I do like a few mountains, but if you dot the whole landscape in mountains, then you're going to have no place to build your shit. So, the shape's always interesting. You can start with islands which are almost completely barren, almost all ocean, or you can start with completely either circular or rectangular shaped islands. I personally like to sit somewhere in the middle because I do like the more minimalistic approach to the environment, so to say. And if you don't like the current island with the sliders that you have, you can just pick a new one and it just randomly generates one as many ooh, that's actually not bad. Let's see, how's this? Okay, so this changes into that. No, actually, like I can't actually see the amount of rivers increasing here. Alright, that's that. Okay, so there's a few puddles. I do like to have a few rivers running through the island so that your dinosaurs don't have to walk all the way across the island to actually find a drinking spot. Of course, you can create lakes and such. How about we start with... That's so goddamn in the middle. What if we... Yeah, I always like to split my islands into two pieces, into two halves, so to say. One of which would be the herbivore enclosure and one of which will be the carnivore enclosure. Now the issue with that setup is that the middle kind of has to be free because that's where you're going to be building your all your facilities. So even though I bloody love this general shape, it's kind of restrictive. Maybe if we just... No. Yeah, ooh. How about that? How about that? Yeah, I think that'll do nicely. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's start. I have accidentally clicked the next island screen before. Alright, so this is going to be the thing we're going to look at. This is... oh yeah, that doesn't work, hang on. I did play this a little bit before, just to test if the mod actually works. So this is the island. You are starting with a given amount of cash. You are starting with 0 dinosaurs and 0 visitors, and you have to build the entire thing yourself. This is the map screen, which you can check the weather, which you should often do because there are twisters, which will absolutely wreck your day, because twisters are on a AI guided path to inflict maximum damage. This is the email screen, which you are going to be bombarded by messages the entire game through. I'll explain what they are in a bit. Yeah, you basically start with a given amount of cash, and it's very simple. Start building your shit. Let's see, what do we start with? Dinosaurs, monsters, Brachiosaurus, and that's actually pretty good. Okay, I like that. Okay, so let's explain the interface. These are just the options. You don't really have to know any of this. Actions, which you can go to the park entrance, which we do not have one right now. We can research, which we should do right now. Amenities, attraction, dinosaur, security, rangers. I think you only get the amenities which contain a few useful upgrades. Only once you build the park entrance, so we'll do that in a bit. This is like 2 months out. I mean, I don't really want any of these right now. Vaccines are extremely important. Amenities, I guess I'll just wait for a second until we actually build the entrance. Yeah, you can declare an emergency, you can jump to the chopper and then control it, you can jump to a ranger and then control it. The dinosaurs themselves, the dinosaur summary, which you can see which dinosaurs you've got, the amount of DNA you've got, and their current lifespan. And of course the amount of population you have right now. Dinopedia, which is just basically your tutorial. You can check the basics, dinosaur species, you can read up on them, you can see where they're found, the amount of DNA you've got. Let's see, we want to learn a little bit more about the homalocephalae, which we can just go to more, and then we have a very small description of the dinosaur. It also has a popularity rating, of course, and some of the dinosaurs like the Dryosaur don't have a very high rating because they're not very popular. And of course, once you start getting some of the more popular things like the Ankylosaur or the Brachiosaurus, you'll see that the rating increases. That's size of the genetics lab, which is where you're going to be finding your dinosaur fossils that you either found or purchased, and which you can extract them for DNA points. Fossil hunting screen, we are starting over here, which is not at all a bad starting location, because of course you do have that Triceratops, which is absolutely lovely. Right now you have only one dig team. You can buy more dig teams, but you can only do that once the park is open, and that's going to take a while still. So we're going to zoom in, and then we are going to start digging in the plains, because I don't expect to be finding much in the mountains. The content that you've got here is, you can see the time period as well. The Cretaceous is most of this. The teams, you can only have 2 on these, 2 on these, 4 on these, and the content is average, good, and good, which I suppose we should. Yeah, but this is the mountains though, so we're just gonna dump them down. More sites unlock as you proceed in the game and as your park gains more fame. I guess that's the dinosaur screen, the report. This is just a whole bunch of information actually. We might get back to that later. And of course the build screen, which we all love. Paths, stuff, environment, you can create lakes, hills, mountains. There's an option here that you might not recognize, but I'll get to that later. Demolish, of course, because the leading stuff is great. Dinosaurs, you can create different fences, lures, feeders, of course the hatchery in which to build the actual dinosaurs, security, all that good stuff, amenities, but at the start we have to start with the park entrance, which we're not going to use. You can rotate buildings, of course. You can basically create the whole thing yourselves. Okay. And now for a little bit of organizatory work. This is a gargantuan mountain, which is kind of in our way, and we cannot, of course, build over there. How are we going to... we are sitting in the middle of a river. I could actually do this here, but that will be a severely shitty location because all of this will be unused unless I pass through this, which I don't want to do. I always like to keep my stuff at a central location. So, ooh, that's a nice little island there. And that's a nice little island too. Ooh, how about we build 2 ranger stations there? We're getting ahead of ourselves. Okay, so how about we just plop this down?
Welcome back.
There's really not a lot of space here, is there? We might be able to flatten that mountain a bit, so let's just place this over here. And we get messages. Right, okay, so we just have a little bit of research on luck, which is under the actions tree, which is the cast machine, weather guard, always very nice, because who does not want to have an umbrella on a tropical island, of course. Okay, path out. I always go around the entrance with 1 space in between. That's 2 spaces in between. Okay. I do think I had a hotkey for demolition selected, but it doesn't really seem to work, which sucks, but okay. If you click the park entrance... Alright, I'll get to that in a bit. You are bombarded with messages the whole time through, by the way, so you're gonna hear that a lot. Current visitors, there's no one here, the park is closed, entry fee, you can go up to 5,000, that's not necessarily a great idea because no one wants to come to your park. Let's see, we do have a... Okay. So I am playing this game with a mod called the Genesis Expansion Project, and the Genesis Expansion Project, thanks Arnold. Actually, right. The Genesis Expansion Project is basically a large-scale modification for this game, which basically aims to patch a lot of the dinosaur behavior up to more realistic levels, and give you a little bit more stuff to work with. Namely, more accurate things like costs for attractions or amenities. Things are more expensive in general. You also get a lot more starting money, and the lifespan of your dinosaurs is severely increased, because they used to just die after, well, actually just a short period of time, which was kind of shitty, which we don't want.
Welcome back.
Let's see, where are we going to start off first? Yeah, I really didn't put this in a great location, did I? Oh well, we'll work with it. Build you there. How about we put that over there and there.
Message from Dr. Grant.
Thank you, Dr. Grant. Back several sources.
What should we do here?
Extract that. Alright, so we... Normally it is the job of you to enclose the dinosaurs. I like to instead close the people. Oh, and of course separate the carnivores from the herbivores, otherwise you are going to have a bloodbath, which absolutely sucks. We're going to put this right about here.
Hi there.
Okay, so we've got the Pachycephalosaurus, which is a great dinosaur, absolutely love it. And that is the... Right, that's what we got. That just finished. Then we're going to go to the... I don't like the rest areas a lot, but they're very expensive, as are the souvenir stands. So, not to research, but they are to actually purchase. So, I can't actually get those. I could start the balloon tool, but that's also very expensive. Your cash does go down fairly quickly, by the way. You have to keep in mind that you are going to run out of cash at some point. So, how about we put some cash machines in the park entrance so that people can get more cash. Okay, so as I was saying... Thanks. Okay, so the Pachycephalosaurus. Great dinosaur, small herbivore, doesn't need a lot of security or something. Edmontosaurus, great, everyone loves the Edmontosaurus. That's real, by the way. The Edmontosaurus is loved by pretty much everyone. The not Pachycephalosaurus, the Parasaurolophus, which is also somewhere in and around this area. It might actually be this one. Yeah, Parasaurolophus. There's one more dinosaur of this family, which also is a great friend of the... What is it? No. It's also a great friend of the Edmontosaurus, which is the... Can we find that? The Oranosaurus. Great. I don't know all of these names by heart. Okay, so we need to find out which dinosaur we're going to produce, because we do of course need to kind of get this going. Pachycephalosaurus has a lifespan of 1 year, this guy 9 months, so let's actually build some of these to start with. I do want to get going. Normally I have this massive planning out phase before I do, in which I like plan out the entire thing, and then once I start building I have like a lot of the research done already, and the dinosaurs live a lot longer, because the amount of DNA you have increases with the amount of fossils that you extract, and that increases the lifespan. You don't want dinosaurs to die after a year, that kind of sucks. So normally I just wait for a little bit until it's up to like maybe 80%, and then they live to like 10 years or so. So that's great, but of course this is a playthrough, so we're not going to do that. Absolutely love this game. And its graphics. They've actually aged very well from such an amazingly old game. The graphics, I think, with the whole colorful, cartoony style thing, actually aged very well. Of course, this guy is going to need some food, and these are modern trees, of course. This guy is, I think, Cretaceous? Yeah, Cretaceous. Which means that that's like, what, 70 million years ago? The trees have changed a lot at that time, right? These guys are not going to be able to eat these trees and digest them properly. So we're going to need to give them some food, which is a paleo bale. You can do a regular bale, but that sometimes makes them sick, so you want a paleo bale. It's a little bit more expensive, and you can click dispense now in case you want to dispense now, which, as you can see, it basically launches two gigantic pallets of food up into the air, and they can then eat those. Okay, so this is the Pachycephalosaurus, that's what they do. That is how the Pachycephalosaurus do. You can set it to auto, you can set it to off. We of course want to set it to auto so that it dispenses food when needed. Now, with the dinosaurs taken care of, these guys will be able to do with the food and with the river over here for water. They are a little territorial, but they also like to be social, so they're not going to They do bunch heads, but that doesn't actually harm them as
Message from
much.
Dr. Grant.
Okay, so as you can see, we are constantly bombarded with these things. We can now...
What should we do here?
Okay, what, we already finished? Okay, so... souvenirs now? What do we want? I do like the view though. It's a great attraction. Once you have some facilities, you can open... Yeah, thank you.
What should we do?
Okay, Opal. This is great because you can sell this. Oh, of course we can buy more D-teams. Okay, we just... No, wait, we didn't open the park yet. Shit. Do you need to open the park or do you need to have dinosaurs? I kind of forgot. Right, you need to open the park. Buying teams gets very expensive, right? The first one is like 5,000, then it's 10,000, 20,000, 40,000, 80,000. It's extremely expensive. The last one I think is 80,000, and that from that point on, you can no longer build any or purchase any dig teams, because at that point you're getting so many fossils that they actually start to produce money, because you can sell the fossils for cash. But we need to actually get some stuff going on. Cleaner station, we do have to fit that in somewhere. Attraction security. Ranger station is very important because, well, once stuff starts going down, you do actually need to, we can dump that over here, or maybe over here. Once stuff starts going down, you do actually need the ranger station to keep control of everything, but since we do not have any large carnivores right now, or even small ones, it's not very necessary yet, but that will start becoming a problem later on. Okay, so we need some attractions. Okay, so what do we got? We got a viewing vent, which is basically very simple. You place it over here, and then let's see. We can't place that over here. We can't place it over here, which will basically let people walk up to it, and then well, basically view the dinosaurs through the enclosures. In this mod, by the way, people are extremely picky. They do not want to cash out their, or dish out their cash very quickly, so you do have to lower the prices on pretty much every attraction, because otherwise they're literally going to turn around and say, fuck this, I'm out. So that's one of the attractions. Another one that's unlocked at the start is the viewing dome, or the viewing platform. The viewing platform basically allows them to walk up into the air and then well, yeah, just watch from the sky. There's also binoculars, I think. They have to be researched. Let's see.
Things are good.
Yeah, now we can upgrade to binoculars, which basically allows people to see further. Even though they already have the binoculars, you still have to unlock them. These are not connected. You have to, of course, connect everything by a path. How are we gonna do this? Yeah, let's do that.
Good to see you.
Okay, let's lower that to 10. Duration, which is basically how long people can stand on the platform. We're going to call this the scenic platform, because this is going to be... one window. Okay, that's good enough. Because this is, of course, going to be a... what do you guys do? Okay. Well, this is what they do. They basically bash their gigantic skulls together, which they've got a lot of bony growth on top of their heads, which they then use to be territorial and figure out who's the alpha male or female in this case, since this is Jurassic Park and all the dinosaurs are, of course, female. So we've got 2 attractions right now. I mean, that's not a whole lot, but we don't need to start with a whole lot. We do, however, need a few amenities, namely a kiosk and a restroom, because people like to piss and people like to eat. So we're going to place these strategically, and with strategically I mean right over. No, we can place a thing there. Okay, so where are we going to place this then?
Message from Dr. Grant.
I said normally I plan this whole thing out, but we don't actually need to do that. So we place you there. How much do you use? I do like to keep it reasonably symmetrical. 3. I'm not sure if that even fits. We'll see. Attractions, theme events. No, that doesn't work. Okay, so we can flatten this area a little bit, which will destroy some of this natural splendor, but we will drive the force of industry forth.
Message from the park administrator.
Right, amenity. Oh, I'm already getting messages that I'm not doing well enough, mostly because I haven't opened the park yet. Attractions, viewing thing.
Hi.
Wrong way. It's not going to be free. We're not having a charity here. Edmontosaurus remains. Yes, sir, please. This is the higher quality fossil, which is basically medium. You have the low quality, you have medium quality, but medium is already kind of high, and then there's high quality, which is a skull. This is just a ribcage. So, as you can see, the lifetime of the Edmontosaurus right now is 9 months. I'm going to get people screaming in the comments that I'm pronouncing these names incorrectly. I'm Dutch, guys. We have different names for these guys. Lifespan is 9 months, DNA is 55. Once we extract this, which is simply info, which you can go to the screen here and then learn some more stuff about it, or you can extract it, or you can sell it. We of course want to extract it. We have some facilities you can open. Yes, I know. Okay, so this is Peter Ludlow. Peter Ludlow is a massive dick. And he is going to be telling you consistently that he's disappointed with your lack of progress, regardless of your progress. So you better prepare yourself for that one.
To discuss your performance.
Amenities, we do actually need that kiosk here. Problem is we can't actually keep this symmetrical because we already fucked that. But I can already see this becoming a problem, guys. My OCD is tingling. Don't actually have OCD. Never mind. Shouldn't make fun of that. But now that I have this extra space here and not here, I do actually kind of want to. Maybe slightly OCD. Like you. This game is very difficult for me, guys. Not because the game is difficult, but because I make it very difficult. Okay, so here we're going to sell a sandwich with a salad, and we're going to charge $10 for it. We don't charge for using the toilet, because that's a complete dick move, and then we are going to open the park.
It gives me great pleasure to declare the newest wonder of the modern world, Jurassic Park, now open.
Congratulations on opening the park. You've got the potential to make Jurassic Park the greatest theme park in the history of the world. Yes, of course, we've got fucking dinosaurs, but ain't nobody can rap to that. Okay, so we've got the Edmontosaurus right now, and don't know why I clicked that. Don't know why that button even exists.
You should stop buying more often.
Pachycephalosaurus, still 1 year, and now the Edmontosaurus is up to 3 years. You see how fast that scales? So this is why I usually wait a bit. Fossil shipment has arrived, which if we go to dinosaurs and then the fossil market, we can now buy stuff. For example, Pachycephalosaurus, this is low quality, high quality, the skull, as I said, and that is the ribcage, the medium. You basically have everything here, but also you have this, which is amber. Amber is a gamble, and it is also extremely pricey, because everything extracted from amber gets a boost on how much DNA you get from it. So, but it is random, so you might be extracting DNA from a dinosaur which you already have at 100%, which basically means that at that point it's no longer worth. And you just wasted a whole bunch of stuff. But you do get more from it, so it's usually worth the gamble. But if you sell it, you do get a tremendous amount of cash. And we are now going to go to the dig screen, and then we are going to buy one. I actually said okay, that's good too. And then we're going to do again, and then we're going to buy another, and then we are going to power game the fuck out of this. That's not actually true. You can't actually power game anything in this game, but that doesn't stop me from trying. So we've got Pachycephalosaurus, and we've won some Edmontosaurus right here. We're going to build 2, and then this lack of symmetry is really it's rustling the genius right now, but that's going to be okay.
Message from Dr. Grant.
Grant, maybe later. Okay, so we currently have the entrance fee of 500 quid, which, to be fair, seeing real life dinosaurs is absolutely worth $500. Okay, time to arrival. It's in progress, which means that from somewhere, you can even hear the fucking helicopter right now. From somewhere, there's going to be a helicopter which comes to the entrance and then drops off a bunch of people. And depending on the price you set and the popularity of your park, the amount of people that come in varies. Oh, wait, we're getting a new dinosaur. But first, where's that got that? Okay, there's the helicopter. Okay, what did you say? Okay, Pachycephalosaurus remains. Yes, extract that. Thank you. This is going to be very sad, Pachycephalosaurus, once they start dying after 1 year. That's kind of sad. Okay, so we've got 5 visitors. Alright, you guys are going to be having your minds blown. Okay, so Edmontosaurus is a very friendly thing. It doesn't really do a whole lot. It basically eats its shits and it drinks, and it is peaceful. Pachycephalosaurus has the same thing. Don't be... Okay, so dinosaurs have needs, right? So they need to have their... this is basically the... in herbivores, I think this is immersion, I guess you would say, which is how happy they are with their environment. With carnivores, this is hunting, and that's extremely annoying because if they have a high hunting need, they will start hunting. Of course, they need food, they need water, they need sleep, and they need to be happy and have good health. Basically everything a good dino needs. What's your problem? Okay, not a whole lot. Sometimes, of course, when these start going dangerously high, their need, then both their happiness and their health starts going down. This is particularly a problem in the base game, where sometimes your dinos will actually just straight up die because of lack of sleep or food, or they will poison themselves eating shit that they can't eat. Of course, the Genesis expansion project actually fixes a lot of this shit and makes it so that we don't actually... Oh shit, we need a cleaning station. What do we... I don't want to dump that there. That doesn't look pretty. But I probably want an infection there.
Urgent message from Dr. Wu.
Right. There you go. Cleaning station. Hire staff. Staff is expensive, but they clean your shit, and I forgot to put trash bins down. That's kind of my own fault. Okay, put that there, put that there. Who was unhappy? You're unhappy. You're in a land with fucking dinosaurs. What are you unhappy about? These prices... Even these prices are way too high. Even lower the prices. This is what I'm saying. These people are complete snitches. I've got motherfucking dinosaurs. Who else has that? It's worth a couple of bucks. Come on. Now that you have dinosaurs in the park, you should build the ranger station. But the ranger station is very expensive, by the way. I mean, we're not in monetary issues just yet, but that will start.
What are your instructions?
Alright, Ember. Oh, unique quality. Oh, that's always good. This is going to be a massive boost. If that's the Triceratops, I'm going to be very happy. You can now build a viewing dome. Thank you. Okay, so now we can build a viewing dome. Viewing dome also can be upgraded with the dome feeder, which basically means you can ditch your herbivore feeders for these dome feeders. Which will then, of course, attract the dinosaurs to the dome feeder, or the dome, because then they have to, eat there and such. 2 weeks, 1 month. How does it take you a month to research binoculars? Okay, dome feeder. Let's build that thing, the viewing dome. Where are we gonna put that thing?
Message from Dr.
Can actually put that right over here. That's also why I leave one space in between so that I could put all the domes over here. We're going... Okay, that's gonna flatten a whole lot of stuff. I don't want that. Boom. Okay, we now have a viewing dome. We're gonna set the entry price to like 50. I mean, it's worth 20. Just gonna put the 50. Viewing dome, turn down the place. Nature dome. Okay, so this will attract people who are more of the scenic, who wants to see scenic stuff. Where's the dinosaurs right now? Okay, that monsters. Where's the other one? I have another one. What? What? Oh, okay. Does that mean this entire area is going to be carnivore shit? And why is there a mountain in the way? Well, why did I start on an island with a goddamn mountain in the middle? This is a bad idea. Okay.
Can you look after this while
yeah, no, but they're more yeah, but then you could also do it. You could also split the island like that. Or that. I mean, this will let carnivores have a very large... I mean, otherwise you're kind of splitting them up, right? Right. Okay, so we're going to put the divide right about here.
Welcome back.
Right, okay. So, we're going to section off this entire area.
It's good to know you're keeping an eye on things.
And of course, I do want to do this at least a little bit symmetrical. Boom. Okay, so now we are going to split the carnivores from the herbivores. And yes, I will smash all the carnivores into one single area. Which can be done if you keep them reasonably peaceful. Oh god. You see how fast this comes in? It's goddamn amazing. These dig teams are great. You can even buy another one. I'm not going to do that because then I'm instantly going to be running out of money, but I'm not so sensitive. Thank you. Okay, always extract the amber before the other stuff, because there is a chance that you will extract stuff of the dinosaur, which in this chance, and since the chance thing, the amber itself, gives more DNA than a regular... What? Oh, right, that's the Unigo thing. Alright, go back to here. I mean, I do want that fountain because it's great. And the rest of it, because it's also great. Lure are also great, but let's go with the binoculars for now. Then maybe people stop being so... What is the problem? You haven't seen any... Okay, what's your problem?
Message from the park warden's office.
Why are these people leaving without having seen any fucking dinosaurs? What's your problem? Oh, right, they're kind of... Why are they there?
It's good to see you.
Can we get some more dinosaurs in here? Okay. What dinosaurs are one? Edmond is great! No, you. Right, get far. See, 65 years. Now that's a lifespan.
Administrator.
What's happening? Yeah, they just didn't see any dinosaurs. We know.
It's good to know you're keeping an eye on
Now, a great tactic is to have a few of these hatcheries all around the park to prevent them from all moving away. This is also probably why you should enclose them at the start, which is actually exactly what I'm going to do. I will remove this enclosure once we have some more bloody dinosaurs, but we kind of... No, come. Oh, fuck. Can we trap any of these guys in here? Because... shit.
Message from Dr. Wu.
Yes, good. Okay, so now we have them semi-trapped. I'm not going to spend more cash on this because, as it turns out, these fences are expensive. And this is just the light fence. I mean, you should see the heavy. It's goddamn terrible. Okay, so what have we got here? Pixaplosaurus. Yep. Okay, they're all happy. Now, you don't actually need... Oh, wait, I indeed don't need these feeders anymore. You don't actually need these feed machines thingies. You can just plant down a bunch of paleo trees, which will let the dinosaurs eat from the trees themselves, without getting sick, of course. But as you might notice in the cost palette there, up in the top left, this is extremely expensive. This is the fastest way to blow money in this game. Plant down a bunch of trees, which really isn't helping to save the trees movement, but we'll see about that. Amber, go ahead, okay. So this is kind of the very short version of the game. You have to manage your park, you have to manage the dinosaurs, and you have to make sure that the people see enough of them, which, as it turns out, is not happening right now. Now, everyone, once you start this game, makes a mistake that... Why don't we just put a bunch of dinosaurs in the middle of the goddamn... not in the enclosures, but to walk among the people. Now, you can do this, and for a time this works very well until people get too close, and whatever dinosaurs you put in there, even the Homilocephalae, which is completely peaceful and the cutest thing you've ever seen, they will still panic and run away and then flee and leave a bad review. You'll get some more money. Let's see how many people are coming. I was like, dude, no. Okay, well, 5 people, that's 2,050. You can, of course, start jacking up the price for ridiculous levels, but as you can see, time to arrival starts really scary. I usually keep the entry fee, at least in the beginning of the game, to 500.
What should we do here?
Alright, so, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Oh wait, I actually can't read the email. I'll read it next time for you. Okay, so we got a couple of... Okay, what are you scared of? Oh, right, the helicopter. The helicopter, of course, is going to come over and scare the dinos a little bit, which is unfortunate, but there's not much you can do about that. I kind of trapped these guys out here. What are you doing here? Okay, well, shit. We have to interfere or else this guy's going to die. So this is when we have to build our ranger station, which I'm going to put smack bang in the middle of the carnivore enclosure, right at the very edge of the carnivore enclosure, but still. Ah shit, we need the gyro stabilizers. Okay, so then we go to the wrong thing, to the research center, and binoculars are almost done. You can now start researching vaccines, which this is going to be bad, let me tell you. Okay, so but what we really want is the gyro stabilizers, which basically means that, well, it provides stability for the helicopters during thunderstorms. It takes a little bit to research, 1 month, but it's really worth it because now in... Okay, I should check the weather. Forecast rain, sunny. Of course, we like sunny. We don't like heat wave, and we absolutely do not like twisters. Twisters, by the way, wreck your entire world because they are on an AI path, which will literally chase dinosaurs running away from it until they've gotten like every single one of them in a line. It's really terrible. They are really, really bad for business, let me tell you. If they were just random, then they wouldn't be so bad, but... Okay, so they are really using the viewing dome. Yeah, and once they eventually see the dinos, then they are kind of happy. You guys aren't hungry, right? No, okay.
Message from Dr. Grant.
Right, the research team. Gyro stabilizers.
We'd like to discuss your performance.
Right. Well done. The addition of another dinosaur species will definitely increase your parts per blur. Okay, so this is one of the few times that you're actually going to get a positive review, which is not going to happen nearly as often as you'd like.
Contact us if you have the time.
You should contact us if you have the time. Oh, Triceratops remains. We like those. Oh, these are all Triceratops with a chance of this one being it too. Oh, we're even at 18% already. Okay, so this is happening slowly. Oh, they're already 100%. So I just made a 1 to 3 bet that this was going to be useful amber. So that's of course not what you want to do, and then you want to start selling those because both dinosaur species that we have right now are already at 100%. No, 40. That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Let's build some. I mean, that's kind of a waste of cash right now. But let's build one. Because these Pachycephalosaurs will start. What's your problem? Okay, just territorial. Once they start getting territorial and start basing heads, you're looking at the wrong guy there. Like, he's right up there behind the tree. I know he's hiding, but I mean, he's kind of large, so it's a little difficult to miss. What was I saying? Kind of lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, I was going to talk about. Oh wait, shit! I was supposed to end the episode. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching the very first episode of Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. I hope you will join me here for part 2. We have a lot more coming up. So I will see you later, and bye.